Hi, and welcome. I'm Anna the Wolfe, and I'm here to tell you a transformative tale. This is the seventh in a series of tales that I will be weaving, and this one comes right on the heels of you meeting a kestrel on a beach. And after the kestrel has flown off in chapter 6, you're still on the beach and you think, oh, I could really use some rest. I'm going to stay on the beach and just enjoy soaking in the sand and hearing the waves. And so you go back to what you originally intended to do, which was rest. And so you're stretched out on the beach and you're feeling such heavy eyelids and you just fall asleep. And you wake up to the sound of hoofbeats racing down the shore, and you can hear them. And they're coming closer and closer and closer. And you sit up and you see a great gray dapple horse racing towards you. And you catch your breath as it comes straight at you and leaps over you and turns into clouds. Just mist. And you are shocked and startled by what's just happened. You just go, oh my, that was unexpected. But then you realize, I guess dreams are always unexpected. The way they race out of your mind at night, leaping over you. So you feel like, well, that was a good rest on the beach, but now I've had some crazy dreams where a horse ran into me. You think, that's all right. I'll just go for a walk down the beach. And as you're walking along the beach, picking up stones and skipping them into the waves, you hear the thundering hooves again. And you look behind you and there's no horses there. And you look in front of you, no horses there. And you realize it was just a dream. But then when you look off into the horizon, at the very edge of the ocean meeting the sky, you see a fog bank rolling in. And in the very front of it, it looks like horse hooves and horse legs charging in the surf and foam forwards towards the shore. And you sit down and you watch as they come racing inland, and in all the fog and mist and shades of gray and white and sea foam, they all mix together, and it sounds like deafening surf as an entire herd of horses comes charging off the ocean in a bank of mist that washes by you and erupts down the shore. And this time you can't think it's a dream because there are hoof prints in the sand, and the sound of their deafening hoofbeats can be felt through the sand, reverberating in your body as they go racing by an entire herd of horses made of fog and mist and cloud stuff, grays and whites and blacks and every shade and combination, like an enormous cloud front rolling through. And the sand is being kicked up and little pieces are hitting you in the face as they come so near and go charging by. And you just sit awestruck by their beauty and their magnificence. You've never seen anything like it in your life. It's just absolute sheer beauty. And you sit back as they go racing down the shoreline, in and out of the waves and up and over each other. And they're moving in an undulating pattern. And they just disperse down the shore and out of view. You're awestruck by their magnificence. But the day is drawing to a close. And you wander back to your tent, and you camp out because you think, I want to see these creatures again. I've never seen anything so amazing in my life. I have to get another glimpse. So you come back the next morning, and sure enough, there's a fog bank rolling in, as it does at the coast most mornings. And you can hear them out there running and laughing and jumping and playing in the waves, whinnying. But the fog burns off early that day, And you're just left sitting on the beach with your own thoughts. And you think, maybe there's something I could offer them to get them to stay. I know. And so the next day you show up in the morning with your pockets full of carrots. And you think, I'll get them to stop. I really, really want to touch one. I just want to touch one so bad. And so this morning they come racing in on the waves on a fog bank. And the fog is so thick that the cloud horses come thundering down the shore towards you. And you offer them carrots, and they stop briefly and look at you, confused, and rear up and disappear into the mist and back into the ocean. And you think, oh no, I've offered these ethereal creatures earth food. I've insulted them. I should have known that would happen. How could I think they would want carrots? I was thinking of regular horses. These are not anything ordinary. They are so extraordinary. So you think the next day, I know I've got it. I really, really just want to touch one. I mean, you were envisioning their manes and their magnificence and the musculature in the front of their legs, and just, you had to touch one. You felt like you just had to touch it and hold it. And if you allowed yourself to dream it, you really, really wanted to ride one. Really, that was your true heart's desire, but you couldn't even breathe that into existence. So you thought, if I could just touch one. And the next morning, a storm was rolling in. And it wasn't just a fog bank. You heard claps of thunder, like hooves striking the ground, like striking rock. It was so loud. It was deafening thunder, and you still persisted in sitting on the shore, even though the rain was pelting you. You sat there waiting as the horses came charging out of the clouds, and every time their hooves hit the sand, thunder erupted, and they came racing towards you out of the ocean and onto the sand, and they started to pass you by, and you could not let them go. You had to hold them. You had to be with them. It was such a strong desire in your heart that you started looking around for a way to keep them with you. And you saw some kelp laying on the shore, big strands and ropes of bull kelp, and you fashioned one into a lasso and went chasing after the horses, and you put your lasso in the air and you threw it around the lead horse's neck, and you pulled and you pulled and you pulled, and you brought yourself right up next to the lead horse and all of his grandeur and beauty, and it was the most magnificent stallion you'd ever seen in your life. And he reared up on his back legs as you tightened the lasso around his neck, and his eyes flung back in his head, and he let out a huge whinny. And as you thought you pulled him and you had him, he disappeared. He disintegrated into thin air, and the entire herd turned into sea mist along with them, and they were gone. And you sat bewildered and ashamed, but you couldn't help yourself. You wanted them so very, very much. It was as though they were a part of your very soul. You came back every day for the next week thinking of ways to apologize for your greed, and nothing you could think of seemed adequate. And then after a month of waiting on the shore, the horses had still not come back, and you were very near to giving up when you saw a fog bank rolling in. And in the very front, there was a white colt at the lead, and there was an enormous herd of cloud horses following him. And as they raced in, you stood up, and you couldn't give it any thought at all. You just wanted so much to be a part of their herd. And so you began running along the shore for all you were worth, running as fast as you could. And in admiration and awe of them, you began to dance as though you yourself were a cloud horse, moving your arms and throwing your head back and forth and just trying to become cloud. And you moved in such a way that the horses stopped. And they recognized that you too had become a cloud horse. And they accepted you into their herd. The stallion stepped forward from somewhere in the herd, and he leaned down he bent his front leg, his mighty front leg, inviting you up onto his withers, and you stepped up on his withers and you held on to him and went racing down the shore. And it was exhilarating, the wind and the fog and the mist, and you were one with it. And then went racing through the ocean, and you felt the spray all about you. And then it happened. They didn't turn to mist. What you hadn't seen before was that they took off into the clouds, and you ran into the clouds, and you made thunder as you went bolting from cloud to cloud, and you looked behind you to see the herd, and they were innumerable. The entire sky was made of cloud horses, and you were running with them and moving as though you were one with them. And as the day darkened, the cloud horses sailed back down, and they gently rested you back in the sand. And that is exactly where we find you today, having found the appropriate offering for a cloud horse. I'm so glad you joined me today for this story, and I can't wait to share another one with you. So if you enjoyed this story, please like it. It helps me tremendously. And share it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to get more notifications, hopefully, about when they come out. And it's my pleasure to share these stories with you. And thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye.